Let's get started. So now we spoke about Terraform state file. In our last class, we discussed what is state file, what is the reason you are storing this state file into a remote location, right? In remote location, in the sense we started storing this uh, state file into an S3 bucket, right? And how to store this, what are the problems associated with your state file, correct? What are the problems associated with your state file? The first one is versioning is a problem. Second one is parallel access is a problem, right? And the third one is you need to maintain, what is the third problem? You need to maintain the, what is that? What here? Versioning, parallel access, and you need to implement a locking mechanism, right? These are the problems associated with your state file. So yeah, encryption, correct? So in order to implement these things, what we need to do now, we have a solution known as, instead of storing this state file into our local machines, then if you are working in a distributed environment, if your team is distributed across multiple nations or something like that, then it is better to store this state file into a remote location so that everybody can refer to the same infrastructure without any delays. And at the same time, if one person is accessing, other person need to wait for some time until he has to finish his work, right? So for doing that, we have combined S3 bucket plus a DynamoDB, right? These are the two things we combined, and using this, we started storing, or we started creating a new file known as backend.tf, right? So using this, now we are storing our file into an S3 bucket. Now using S3 bucket, it is also creating a version of that file, right? So this is the advantage of creating it. Now, so now let's say I wanted to create a instance. Okay. How many instances I wanted to create? Now I wanted to create a for this topic. We can wait for some time before that. Okay. See now, I wanted to create a key pair. See, first what I'll do, I wanted to create a key pair. Okay. But how I'm going to create this key pair? I'm going to create this key pair manually in my AWS account, not using Terraform. I'm creating a key pair. I'm not creating this using Terraform. I'm creating this with the help of console, AWS console. That is, manually I'm creating this. Just because we did not created this key pair using Terraform, it doesn't know whether it is created or whether it is deleted, whatever the operations that we perform with here in key pair, your Terraform doesn't know, because your Terraform tracks whatever the infrastructure is available, in the state file, right? Have created a key pair manually. Your Terraform doesn't know whether I created or deleted this key pair, just because it doesn't know, right? It only tracks the infrastructure which is created using Terraform. Okay. Now, what is my requirement? First, I'll create one key pair, and how I'll create this key pair? I'll create this manually. Okay. Now, what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a EC2 instance using the EC2 instance. In this EC2 instance, I wanted to use this key pair. Okay. So what I'm, are you guys able to understand this? I'm creating a key pair manually. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a resource using Terraform, that is EC2 instance I wanted to create. And inside this EC2 instance, I wanted to use that same key pair. Okay. So this is what I wanted to do. So that is, I wanted to read, these are my AWS, this is my AWS account, and here is my key pair. And how it has been created, it has created manually, right? Now I wanted to create a EC2 machine using Terraform, and inside this EC2 machine, I wanted to make use of this key pair. Okay, so now I hope you understood what I'm trying to say here. See, data source. Okay. See, now if you want to read existing values, if you want to read existing values, or whatever the values, whatever the resources which are created manually, right? What are the existing values available in you inside your AWS, or whatever the resources that you have already created inside AWS, and you wanted to read them, you wanted to use them inside your Terraform script. At that point of time, you need to use a block known as data source block. Okay, I hope everybody got this point. See, some resources you have created inside your AWS account, and you wanted to make use of that resource inside your Terraform script. Okay, the resource which is created manually, you wanted to use it inside your Terraform script. That is, I just wanted to read that resource, and I wanted to use inside my script from the AWS. I wanted to read existing values which are created manually, and I wanted to use those resources inside my EC2 machine, inside my Terraform script. Okay, at that point, we use something called as data source block. Fine. So I hope any questions here. So what is data source block? If you wanted to read the existing values from the Terraform and use it inside your Terraform script, then you need to go for data source block. So now let us see how to do this. Okay. So let me open this first. See now what I'm doing, I'll go to my console and I'll create one key pair here. Okay, just wait. See, there is a key pair already exists. This is the key pair I'm using for logging in. Okay, this has been created manually. Now, what I wanted to do here is I wanted to use this key pair while creating a EC2 instance. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. Now, how to do this? Let us see. Okay, so just come back to your notepad. Okay. So first, what I need to do, just I need to write provider block, provider, anything is available with provider or something. Okay. Variable is available, fine. I'll just copy this instead of writing this again and again. Variable.tf is ready. Okay. Next is I want one provider block. Provider is also ready. Control C. Here, just change this value. US -1. Okay. So now what I wanted to do, I wanted to read a key pair first from the AWS. So for that, just go to your Terraform AWS documentation, AWS Terraform. Just come here, right? Now just come down. Go to your EC2 instance, Elastic Compute Cloud. See here, there are two blocks. One is resource block. When you will use resource block, if you wanted to create some resources into AWS, then you will be using resource block. When to use data source block, if you just come down, you can able to see data source. When to use data source block, if you want, there is an infrastructure, there is some resource already exists, which might be created using Terraform or which might not be created using Terraform. It is already existing in AWS. Now you wanted to read those values, you wanted to use those values inside your Terraform script. At that point of time, what you will use, you'll be using data source block. Okay, just come down here. You can able to see key pair. See AWS key pair. Just click on that. I wanted to read this value first, right? So first what I'll do, I'll just copy paste. I don't need this, but still I'll edit this file. See, this is what I wanted. Okay, Control C, come back, Control V. What I'll do, I'll remove whatever the information which I don't want. Filter. Key name is, what is the key name? How it will work, I'll explain. Just give me a minute. What is the key name here? US, right? Just US. Okay. So now we can able to read this. See, whenever you use this data source block, what happens? See, this is where your AWS is. And let us assume now we are reading all the key pair values here, right? So whenever you use data source block, what it does, it does, it first, it will read all the values, whatever the values, whatever the key pairs, not only key pairs. If you take here a key pair, it will read whatever the key pairs available. If you see whatever the EC2 instances you wanted to read, it will read all the values. If you wanted to read S3 buckets, it will read all the S3 buckets. Okay. So now in this example, we are talking about this one. Just don't consider only for key pairs. Now it will read all the key pairs whichever are available. First, it will read all the key pairs and store these values. Store these values under a name provided here. Whatever the name you provide, right? It will store all those values inside this name. First, data source block, it will read all the values from the AWS. Then it will store all those values inside this name. And this name, you already know why you're using for the internal communication. If you wanted to refer those values inside different blocks, then you will be using this name. Okay. So that is how your data source block works. Your data source block reads all the values from the AWS and stores those values under a name, under a single name. Okay. And you can use this name to refer those values inside different blocks. I hope everybody is clear. Just to clarify, it reads, it will read the value, my handwriting, read the value, store all the values under a name, whatever the name you have provided, and you can refer this name to provide values or use those values into different blocks. Okay. Now, see, now we are reading the value here. We are reading all the all the key pairs available, right? Now, what I wanted to do, I'll just create one output variable. Output. What is the output variable name? Key pair. I'll just wanted to show you whether it stores all the values or not. Key pair name. Next, what is this here? Value. How to get a value now? See, again the same thing, interpolation. But instead of using your, what is the interpolation syntax? Interpolation syntax is resource type dot resource name dot your attribute value, right? This is the syntax that we are using. Now, if you wanted to refer the values from the data source, again, same thing. There is no difference, but you need to add one more keyword known as data. Data dot resource type dot resource name dot your attribute value. Same thing, not date, data. Okay. Now let us use this data dot, what is the resource name here? My resource name is, resource type is AWS key pair. Just same thing, right? Dot, what is my resource name? Example is my resource name. Control C. And what is the attribute I wanted to use? I wanted to use this attribute, key name, right? Control C and Control V. Now this is done. Okay, just execute this. Okay, I'll just remove. I'll copy these two things. Control C, come back to server, vi main.tf. Okay, whatever the things are here. It's local instance, Red Hat. Okay, no issues. I'm deleting all these values. If you wanted to maintain all the codes for your reference purpose, instead of deleting this file, I usually delete this whenever I practice, but you keep it in a separate folder. Create one separate folder for one resource while practicing so that you can able to refer to that. Okay, my data source block is ready. Done. Okay, I did sudo, I guess. Sudo su vi main.tf. Insert wq. Okay, vi output dot tf. I'll add this content. Just delete this. Okay. Now we Terraform Terraform validate. Okay, success. Terraform apply. hyphen auto hyphen up. See what it is giving you? It is first connecting to your AWS changes to the outputs. See data example, it is reading. Read completes after 0 seconds. It is just reading the data from the AWS. Apart from that, it will nothing it will do. Okay. Now, once it reads the data, what I'm trying to do here, I'll print that output here. Okay. So this is how you can read. Now, to the same example, what I'll do, I'll start using or start creating a resource block. Okay. Resource. Do we have any resource blocks here? Resource. Okay. Resource. Yeah, we have this resource block. Control C. Come back. Control V. Same resource block. I'll let some values here. Okay. Now, what is my AMI ID? I'll manually provide because we don't have a variable.tf to refer the values, right? Even if you want, you can create that, no issues on it. But I'm manually providing these values as of now. Anything, that's fine. Control C, come back. AMID is copied, instances t2.micro. And now what I wanted to use, I wanted to provide a key name. Key name is equal to, how will you provide? Can I just directly go and write US? This is my key pair. No, right? How to do this? Again, same thing. This one. Okay. Data dot resource type. What is the resource type? This is my resource type, right? Control C, Control V. Okay, sorry. Resource type dot, what is the resource name? Resource name is example. And what do you want? You wanted to use this key name, right? Control C and Control V, right? So this is how you refer the values between the blocks. So this is my data source block and this is my resource block. Data source block is reading the data from the AWS, and resource block, it is using this data source block by making use of this values. It is creating another machine. So resource block is creating, and at the same time data source block is reading the values. Okay, just copy paste this thing. Vi main.tf, just here, wherever you want, insert, paste, right? Here, okay, everything's fine. Save, vi Terraform, okay, Terraform, yes, very Terraform apply hyphen auto approve. See, it has started creating that with that key pair, whatever you provided, right? That key pair, it started creating. Okay. If you just see here, see, what is the key name it is using? It is making use of US. That key name it has started using. Okay. So now what I want you to try is go back, just create one key pair here, manually create one key pair and try this once. Okay. So now Any doubts here? This is my complete mess. Okay. So if there are no doubts, right? So what is the difference between data source block and a resource block now? Using a data source block, you will just read the data, read the existing data in AWS, read existing data in AWS and use those values inside your Terraform script. Okay. So for this purpose, you will be using data source block. And what is the resource block? Resource block is used to create a new infrastructure or a new service if you wanted to create. At that point of time, you'll be using a resource block. Please be clear on this. There should not be any confusion. Okay. So that is the thing. Now, if you are comfortable with this, we'll move to other resource. Okay. So now, see now, this time, what I wanted to do here is now I wanted to create three EC2 instances. First EC2 instance, second EC2 instance, and third EC2 instance. I wanted to create three different EC2 instances. If you wanted to create three different EC2 instances, what we need to do, sir? This is, let us consider, this is my main.tf file. Main.tf file. Inside main.tf file, first I'll write my provider block. Second one is my resource block. This resource block, I'll call it as resource block 1 for one EC2 instance, resource block 2 for second EC2 instance, and resource block 3 for my third EC2 instance. And at the same time, what I'll create another variable, another file known as variable.tf. Inside this, I'll provide all the AMI IDs and your instance type, right? And even if you want, you can create a one more file known as output.tf. This is what we are doing. So now we are creating three different EC2 instances. And while creating, you need to provide these values, right? Let us do this and see why we are doing this. You'll come to know. Okay. Let me delete this. Okay, variable AMI is ready. What I'll do, provider. Okay, this is almost ready. I'll just switch back. Provider variable. Okay. See, now what I'm doing here, I'll store three different, what is that? This one, AMA IDs. Just come back. Just give me a second, guys, please. Okay. So now I'm storing three different AMI IDs. This is my first AMI. What is the second AMI ID? Just come back. Amazon Linux. This is the second one. Control C, comma, Control V, and I'll store one Red Hat. Okay. Why I'm doing this, you'll come to know, sir. Just wait. What is the thing? Kind of basic for next concept, right? Now, did I refer all these values? A var dot AMA ID. This is type. Type is equal to list, right? This is the list I'm creating using square brackets. Okay.
Sachin, is it necessary to mention type equal to list? No, it is optional.
Yes. It is mandatory. Sometimes I'll show you one error, maybe in the next
Okay.
example. You'll get this error.
Description also.
Description is not mandatory. It's your
Okay.
optional, but it is a best practice to provide.
Best practice. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now var dot AMI ID, I wanted to create with the first AMI ID. How will you refer the values? Using the index number, right? So same thing. This is my first resource block. I'll create a second resource block, but this resource block is using this what is this? This AMI ID. And I'm creating third resource. Third one with the help of second AMI ID. This one. Okay. This is my 0 index. This is my first index, and this is my second index. Right. This is how you refer the values in your list. Now my entire thing is ready. Now what I will do, I am creating 3 different EC2 instances. Come back. Instead of this, I'll come back and cd dot dot mkdir. I'll call it as loops. Okay, cd loops vi main.tf. Okay, include, insert, paste, done. Right, vi variable.tf, insert, where is the value? Okay, okay. So these are the values. Control C, come back, paste, save, Terraform init. Why? Okay. vi main.tf. Insert the same name just because of that. Ubuntu 1, Ubuntu 2. I'm just changing the names, that's it. Nothing else here. Terraform init. It is downloading whatever the plugins it requires to execute that script for all the AWS. Right, it has done. Terraform apply -auto approve. Now what it does, it has started creating 3 different EC2 instances with 3 different AMIs, 3 different configurations, right? So it has started creating. Okay. Now let it complete. Let it complete. Then we'll come back to the new thing. See, if you observe here, if you just come back and observe, here it has created 3 different EC2 instances. Okay, that is fine. Everything is good. Okay, I did not fine. Deleted that one. Fine. Now, if you observe here, where is this? Here at this spot, see, same code is getting repeated again and again. If you see here, almost all the things are same, but what is getting changed? Only this AMI ID is getting changed. right? I wanted to create 3 different EC2 instances, and the code for all 3 different resource block will almost same. 90% of the code is same. But what is getting changed here? It is just this value is getting changed. Okay. So we are repeating the same code with the same configuration, right? So instead of writing the same code again and again, see, here we are writing the same code again and again. Now we can also use something called as loops. Instead of repeating the code again, or instead of writing the code again and again, now we can use a concept known as loops. Okay, so what it does, it helps to reduce the repeated task. It helps to reduce the repeated tasks, or it helps to perform repetitive tasks without repeating the code. Here you are repeating the code. How many times you are repeating? You are repeating for the 3 times. Now with the help of loops, I can do all this task using only one block. So I am eliminating these 2 blocks. So that is the advantage. It helps you to perform repetitive tasks without repeating the code. That is the advantage of using loops. Okay. The first loop is something called as count. First loop is something called as count. This is the first loop. Okay. So what is the use of count? Count is used to create the identical resources. See, now what I'm doing? I'm creating 3 different EC2 instances. All are of same type. All are of same type, right? Almost same thing. Let us create 3 different EC2 instances using count. So what it will do, it will create identical resources. Same resources it will create. Now just directly come here. What I'll do, I'll delete this. Oh, where is this? See, I'll just delete this 2 resource pods. I'll directly come here. I'll say count is equal to 3. That's it. Nothing I'm doing. I'll just eliminate this. Okay, I'm also providing this. No worries. See, what I'm doing, I'm just creating count is equal to 3. So now just come back, copy, come back to your server, vi main.tf, eliminate all the repetitive code here. Insert what I wanted to do. Yeah. Insert, right? Terraform plan. See, now how many resources it is going to create? Whether it is going to create only one resource? No, it is going to create 3 different resources. So instead of repeating the code, what it is doing, it is creating 3 different things. It is creating 3 and destroying 3. That is fine because we already had 3 resources, right? So that's why now Terraform apply hyphen auto hyphen approve. Okay. So now we'll start creating 3 identical resources, same resources. Why I'm referring to the word identical or a same resource? Let me show you. It is destroying early three EC2 instances, and now it is creating 3 new EC2 instances. Okay. Just wait. Okay. Now, what it has done, let's see. Come back to your this one. I would have provided a name, but let's see. Terraform server, there are 5 running, initiating this one, and this one, right? See, if I look at now, it has created without repeating a code, it is creating 3 different EC2 instances. Fine, with the same configurations. But if you see here, it is using Ubuntu machine. Okay, fine. I'm coming back to this EC2 machine. And even if you see for this one, what it is doing, again, it is using Ubuntu machine, Ubuntu AMI ID. And even if I look at this one, what it is doing, again, it is using Ubuntu machine. But if you look at my configuration file, what it has to do, it has to change these values, correct? For first EC2 instance, it has to use this AMI ID. For second EC2 instance, it has to use this AMI ID. And third EC2 instance, it has to use this AMI ID. But what it is doing, it is making use of only this value. It is creating 3 different EC2 instances. That is fine. It has created 3 identical resources, same kind of resources it has created. Okay, this is the first example for count. Second thing here is I wanted to create again 3 different EC2 instances, but this time with the different AMA IDs. This time we wanted to create first EC2 instance with the Ubuntu AMA ID, second EC2 instance with the Red Hat AMA ID, and third EC2 instance with the Amazon Linux AMA ID. Okay, so in that way, what you can do here, any idea, sir, how to do this?
I think under ID we can change 0, 1, 1, 2.
See, if you are changing this value, then again I need to create 3 different resource blocks,
Okay.
right?
Okay, sir.
Again, your point is correct. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Anything like for loop we can use, for or while, something
Yes,
like that.
yes. Same thing, but quite different here. For is there, but that is for tomorrow. But today, see, what you can just do here is just altering the things here. First, what do you need to do here? I want a image ID or a AMI ID, correct? I'm getting a AMI ID, but once it has created the first EC2 instance, it is getting a first EC2 instance with the what is that AMI ID? Ubuntu AMI ID. It has created. But for the next EC2 instance, it need to pick the second AMI ID, correct? But it is not moving to the next AMI ID, correct? If you see here, it has fixed here. So now what I wanted to do, I wanted to first create a EC2 instance with the Ubuntu. Once you are done with creating Ubuntu AMI ID, then go to the second AMI ID, Red Hat AMI ID. Once it is done, move to the third AMI ID. First, second, and third. Once you complete, move to the next house. Consider it as a house. First, you eat in this house and move to the next house. Next, you eat in this house, move to the next house. Next, you eat in this house and come on. This is what I wanted to do. Okay. So just small things you need to change here. What is the small change? Any ideas, sir? See?
Declaring int variable and incrementing it by 1.
Yeah, that is exactly correct, ma'am. That is in programming now. But your idea is exactly correct. Okay. See? And at the same time, what I wanted to do, I'm manually providing this count value. I'm providing 3, 4, 5, those many values. But now we have a function known as length, LENGTH, and var dot your variable. What is my variable name? AMI ID. What it will do? Sorry. Okay, I'm here. AMI-ID. So now it will automatically calculate whatever the values present here, and it will create those many EC2 instances. I'm trying to explain two things here. Count is equal to length of var dot AMID. That is, in this variable, how many values that you are storing. It will be calculated using length. And what is the length value? Now the length value becomes 3, and those many EC2 instances it is going to create. Okay. So instead of providing the values 3, 4, 5 manually, now what I am doing, it will automatically come to know that how many EC2 instances Terraform has to create itself. Okay. Length dot var dot your image ID or whatever the variable. And here again, what you need to do, you need to increment your count dot index value automatically. First index is 0, right? This is my first index. Once it is done, then move to the second index. Once it is done, move to the third index. How you can do that? Just use something called as count dot index. Index, or you already know, it starts from 0, right? And increment the value by 1 using count. Just need to do this. Okay. See, I explained you two things here. One is, instead of providing the number manually here, now we are automatically calculating how many EC2 instances I wanted to create. And at the same time, you need to use different AMA IDs for different EC2 instances. How we are going, how we are moving? First use the first EC2 instance, then move to the next four. Then use the second EC2 instance, then move to the third one. That is what I am doing here. See, just to clarify the things here, if you don't know what is loop, I'll just clarify those things. Let us assume you don't know anything about loops. Okay, just remember this example always. Let us assume there are 3 different houses. Let us assume there are 3 different houses. Now, here you are standing. These are your friends, so friend 1, friend 2, and friend 3. This is some area in Bangalore, some Jayanagar or something like that. Okay. Now, there is some festival going on. There is some festival going on in this area, and all of your friends, friend 1, friend 2, friend 3 has invited you to their home for what? For non-veg food. For having a food, they invited you to the this one, to their homes. Now, what you will do? First, you will go to this house, correct? Right? See, entire your loops, I'll explain in a single example. First, you will go to this house. What you will do? You will eat. Whether are you going to eat, assume this is your stomach. Whether are you going to eat fully? No, you will eat only like some 25%. This percent you will eat. Why? There are other 2 houses are pending. Then you will go to next house. How much you will eat? You will eat like some 60%. Then you will go to next house. Then you will eat 100%. Okay. Now we'll talk in a technical terms. See, before going into first house, right? We call it in programming as a if else conditions. Same thing here. If else, literal meaning whether you are going to do something or whether you're not going to do something. Okay. See, before going into this house, what is the status of my stomach? It is completely empty, right? Now, then I'll go to first house. You go to the first house. Whether my stomach, I'll delete this. First, I'll check the condition. What condition I'll check? Whether stomach is equal to empty. Stomach is equal to empty. Yes, my stomach is empty. If my stomach is empty, then what I need to do? I need to eat. Correct? Okay, I'm eating. Then once I'm done with this house, what I need to do? I need to go to the next house. Right? For going to the next house, what do you need? You need to add some steps. Let's say one step you need to add. Correct? Then go to the second house. Once you come to the second house, what do you need to do? Again, you need to check the condition, same condition, whether stomach is equal to empty. Yes. If the result is yes, then eat. Once your eating is done, then what do you need to do? Again, you need to add one more step, move to the next house. Then again come to the same house and again check the condition whether stomach is equal to empty. Yes, it is empty. If it is empty, then what I need to do? I need to eat. Okay. Then once it is done, again you need to check the condition whether stomach is equal to empty. No, it is not empty. Then what do you need to do? You need to come out of your house, come out of this your friend house. You go to your house and you sleep. Right? See here, there are two things. One is checking the condition in each and every house. Second is movement between your different houses. First, go to the first house. Check the condition. Once the condition is done, then move to the second house. For movement, what you are using? You're adding a step. Then go to the second house. Again, check the same condition. Then move to the third house. Again, check the same condition. Same thing we are doing here. Count.index. First, you go to the first house. You using this AMA ID, you create first EC2 instance. Once it is done, you come to the second EC2 instance or second AMA ID. While creating second AMA ID, use second, while creating second EC2 instance, use second AMA ID. Once it is done, come and create third EC2 instance. While creating third EC2 instance, use third AMA ID. That is what I'm telling you. Okay. So now, I hope you had a small understanding of what is this EC2 missions. While discussing Python, again, I'll come back to this conditional statements. But here, this is enough. It is very simple here. Okay. Length is one function and count.index is another function. Now let us copy, Control C. Right. VI main.tf. Just delete. Okay. Terraform apply. See, it has started creating some error or something. No? Replaced. Okay, okay. See, it has automatically started creating the resources. Okay. So now if you come back and see here, where is this? Wait for a minute. It will start creating your EC2 instances. Meanwhile, I'll delete all these things. Two are running. Okay. Now it has created 3 different EC2 instances, right? If you just come back and search instance state is equal to running. Okay. Wait, it is creating. See, first one, if you just come down, see, has created with the Red Hat AMA ID. If you just come back and see, it has created using some different AMA ID, right? This is using Amazon Linux. And if you just come back, see this one must be a Ubuntu AMA. Okay, we use 2 AMA, same Amazon Linux. Huh? Maybe that is the possibility. I think so. We are used. That is not an issue. Okay, so in that way, it is creating 3 different EC2 instances with 3 different operating systems or AMA IDs. The main concept here is count. What does count do? The first one, in the first example, it is used to create a identical resources, right? Without repeating the same code, without writing the code, same code again and again, you can able to reuse the code. So that is the advantage of using your loops. Okay, so here length is a function which automatically calculates how many resources it has to create based on the values which are present in my AMI ID or based on values present in my variable. If I provide 10 values, it will create 10 EC2 instances. If I provide 100 values here, it will create 100 EC2 instances. Okay, and count.index, it is moving from one house to another house while creating this EC2 instances. Okay, so this is how you can, without repeating the code or without writing again and again the same code, you can able to create the EC2 instances or resources. The first part is count. Now, let us create a new resource now. What I wanted to create this time, instead of creating EC2 instance, I wanted to create 5 different IAM users. Okay, so how to create IAM user? You don't know anything how to create IAM user. What do you just need to do? Come back, go to your documentation part, search for IAM. Just come down, search for IAM, where you can see IAM, ABC, IAM, Identity and Access Management. Come down, what I wanted to create? I wanted to create a IAM user, right? Just search for IAM user. Here, AWS IAM user, just click on that, come down. And what do you wanted to create? I wanted to create a user. Copy this, come back, Control V, and whatever the values, even if you want to keep, just keep it. I don't want you to keep it. I'll remove this. Okay. So now I'll change this as to users. You can provide any name. That's your wish. Okay. So now name, how many users I wanted to create? I wanted to create some 5 users I wanted to create. So what I'll do, I'll create a variable now. Variable. What is the variable name? Variable name is users. And type, see, somebody asked me, right? If you not declare type, what happens? We'll see that. Default, EFAULT. And I'll define some names. Manoj is the first name, first user. Second is Pawan is the second user. Third is Bhavya is the third user. Fourth is Suchitra is the third user, fourth user, right? And the last user is I wanted to create Jaipal. These are the 5 different users I wanted to create. Okay, so now it is done. For what is the value for my name? var dot users. And That's fine. We'll see. And how many users you wanted to create? Count is equal to 5. Yes, that is fine. But I wanted to calculate automatically. LENGTH length of var dot, what is this? Length of IAM users, right? Or users. Or I'll call it as an IAM user. Instead of this is also users, this is also users. I'll call it as IAM users. var dot IAM user. Users. Okay. Now for this one, again, same thing. Count dot index. That's it. Now my script is ready for creating the 5 different users with 5 different names. Just copy paste the same thing. Where is this? I'll create cd dot dot vi. Okay, one second. mkdir users. I'll call it as this folder. cd users. vi main.tf. Main.tf. Insert. Same thing I'm creating another resource. So that's it. Nothing I'm doing here. Okay. Enter vi variable.tf. Variable.tf. Insert. Control C. Then Terraform init. See? Can you able to see this here? Terraform configuration must be valid. Terraform. Now given definition must end with new line. Terraform encountered a problem during initialization.
Square bracket. Square, maybe square bracket.
Sorry, square bracket. Huh?
Square bracket. Instead of the bracket is there na count dot
Okay,
index.
okay. I missed that. Okay. Sorry. Okay, vi variable.tf. No, square bracket is there. Variable I am user default.
Main.tf.
Resource appears name. You're talking about which one? var dot users, not users. I am
Second one. Second line.
Closing brace is not
Count
there.
dot index. Count dot index. That one.
and
Square
here
bracket.
also I'm referring to IAM user variable. IAM users. Yeah. I missed it. See, these are the mistakes we usually do. Instead of square brackets, I'm users, colon, done, Terraform init. Okay, Terraform validate. Terraform apply hyphen auto hyphen approve. Okay, see, it has created 5 different users now. Now we just come back, search for IAM, go here. You see for users. Okay, see, it has created 5 different users just now. Fine. So this is the other example for your count. Okay, count loop. Just see, whenever you don't know anything, I wanted to create. Okay, so what you just need to do, just come back here, come back to your documentation first, just go through. There are multiple options. Now we just created a user. Next, what we'll do, once I complete with some of the other concepts that I want to discuss, once that is done, we'll start creating a user. Once user is created, start assigning a policy to that user, right? Assign a role to that user. You already know what is policy, what is role. In AWS, we already discussed. See, here they're assigning a policy to them. Those kind of things will do, right? So this is just another example, creating different users or multiple users using your count. Fine. Any doubts? Whatever the things that we discussed till now. Once it is done, just Terraform destroy. N-hyphen auto, hyphen approve. Okay. 1 second. Destroyed. And you always mention a type here. I don't know why we didn't get a error, but you always please mention type here. It is always a mandatory, not mandatory, it will work, but and in some script, what you will see like this list of string. In some scripts, they'll be mentioning like this. In some script, they'll mention like this, just a list. Both are same. There is no difference. Okay. So this is the another example for our resource. Fine. So just go back and practice these things. Tomorrow we'll see another loop known as for each. Known as for each. Tomorrow we'll see this, and maybe I'll complete for each tomorrow. Okay. So if that is done, we just left with few more topics. Once that is done, we'll start creating actual resources. Okay. So that's it for this class. And if there are no doubts, we can wind up the session. Okay. So thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.